Yo, me style them Belleh, Belleh. Me a star up in tell her, oh, tell her, Belleh. Come and say me Belleh, Belleh, Belleh.
Hey, I'm Lisa, I'm from Germany, I'm 27 and I'm here in Jamaica for 5 weeks for the first time, mainly for dancehall dancing and to get to know the culture and the country. And I'm lesbian, so I'm also interested in how it is to grow up in an environment who's not really open to being homosexual or to living with that orientation.
What have you found so far from your trip?
I've met some girls who've been growing up here and I've had some talks to them and I experienced that it's kind of like, it's hard because I've talked to one who's outed and one who's not being open with their sexual orientation, and it's like you gotta be careful who you telling because some people are not open with it. So if you're living with that sexual orientation, you might be afraid of telling your parents and you might be afraid of telling your friends because you're afraid that they're turning your back on you. It's like they can't come out in the community, they can't come out to their friends because they are too afraid of losing their social status. So they're still gonna hide it or being in a relationship with a man even if they don't like it.
And what has been your personal experience being in Jamaica as a lesbian?
At the other guest house I tried before, I had some discussion with some older Jamaican guy and he mentioned that he don't like to go to the dancehall parties anymore because there are a lot of gay people around. He mentioned that and I explained to him that I'm gay and we had like a discussion for 1.5 hours. We are still good, we had a good conversation about it. I think he got my point, but on the other hand I think if I had been a Jamaican woman it wouldn't be that easy to just explain myself.
What was your point?
My point is that you can't choose it, that you can't choose who you're attracted with or who you're looking after or who you're staring at to. You can't choose it. So if I'm looking at a woman like a man do look like a woman, I'm not choosing that. I'm not like, I want to be like that. It's just like came up. Naturally you don't have to explain yourself.
I've heard other people say, you know, as a gay person in Jamaica, they find it very difficult to cope with the level of homophobia that's here. How have you found that?
To me it's not the problem, even though I'm so into dancehall, but for me, since my sexuality is so natural, it's not a big deal to me, so I would define myself more as a person who's into dancehall music or who loves to smoke weed than as a lesbian, and so that's why I'm not bothered by that.
Dancehall is seen as probably one of the most homophobic genres in pop music. How do you reconcile that as a gay person?
It's just because I like the music and I guess the music comes a lot along with the culture because the culture influences the music so much, so I gotta take it somehow. But I guess it's also like there's so much more about dancehall music than being homophobic, so that's just some part of it, and even it's like might be a bigger part than in pop music nowadays. It's still just a part of dancehall music and not the whole dancehall.
When it comes to this, the topic of homophobia and gay people in, let's say, dancehall and in Jamaica, a lot of people say, oh, you know, you have to kind of just accept it for what it is because it's their culture. How do you feel about that?
I wouldn't say you have to accept it, but I think it's a lack of education maybe, because, for example, if you're a male Jamaican and you've never been out of Jamaica because you simply didn't have the opportunity to that, but then if you would have the opportunity and come to Germany, for example, and you're coming to Cologne when there's one time in the year when they have like a huge festival for all the gay people. So if you get out of the plane and you have some homophobia on your mind, but you came to the city and the city is full of gay people and they're showing it and they're celebrating it, and you're the only one who has a problem with it, I think you're gonna start to think differently.
All in all, are you happy with your trip to Jamaica?
Yes, super happy.
Were you able to connect with any Jamaican female?